finished. The search for answers and justice continues this morning. Plus,
cleaning out flooded homes leaves a lot of debris like this behind. Coming up this morning on GMSA, the ways you can get free help in the Kerrville-Ingram-Hunt area.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Hey there, good morning San Antonio. It is 6 a.m. on this Friday, July the 18th.
Yeah, we're at the weekend finally, and I know a lot of people are excited about it. We got some decent weather coming our way, not as much rain.
Correct. I know it's the weekend. It's been kind of a busy July for a lot of people with vacations or just rain in general. And I do have some good news. We are going to start drying out, but we're also going to start with about a 10% chance to 20% chance of rain for some folks today. But right now, you're waking up, temperature still sitting in those 70s. A little cooler as you get to the hill country. They're sitting about 69 degrees in areas of Fredericksburg, 72 in Junction, but most of us still sitting very comfortable in those 70s. But you're feeling a little muggy this morning. That is normal. We're normally feeling a little muggy, a little humid this morning. Dew point temperature sitting in those 70s. It's very seasonable for us this time of year. Now today, our peak temperatures are supposed to get to those mid to upper 90s. This is the normal July we're used to at this point. We're used to triple digit heat or near triple digit heat. Some areas near Cotulla, Freer, and Laredo where they normally are sitting a little warmer, they're supposed to get to triple digit heat. For San Antonio, only about 95 degrees, but as you get closer and closer to the south, it's going to be warmer and feel warmer. Even areas of Pleasanton, Eagle Pass are supposed to be feeling like we're in the triple digits. Now, San Antonio, it's only going to feel like we're 98 degrees. However, I wouldn't be surprised if we get closer to feeling closer to 100 degrees, but we do have more rain chances coming up in the forecast. It's very small, only about a 20% chance, but I'll break down that and what's causing the rain chances coming up, guys.
All right, let's take a look outside right now at your traffic this morning. If you're heading out, I-37 at Jones looking pretty good out there. I-37 at... Can't see that.
I can't see it either, girl. You good?
But I do know that there's still some construction. Of course, it's ongoing at I-35 at Laredo Street northbound, and of course I-10 at Zool Road westbound. So if that is your commute, that is how things are going to be looking. 281 at 410, looking pretty nice. It is only 6:01 though.
Photojournalist Alex Galvez on the road. Alex, happy Friday.
Japhanie, good morning and happy Friday. You know what? Last hour we started off, we had a rocky start to the 5 a.m. hour. We had a crash. We had some construction going on, but that's not happening right now for 6 a.m. We are crash free and there's no construction happening on the northeast side. So I-35 is looking good in both directions. I just turned the turnaround right now. I'm going to go 35 south and make my way into town. But so far, it's looking to be a pretty good commute starting off for the 6 a.m. hour, Japhanie.
All right. Thanks so much, Alex. Please stay safe out there. We already know something pops up, you'll be the first one at the scene. 6:02 right now, again 77 outside. We got some families who are still recovering as the deadly July 4th waters flooded homes and businesses in the Hill Country.
And as they look towards the future, there's free help across the area with mucking and gutting structures, something that can typically cost thousands of dollars.
Our very own Devin Karp live right now. Taking place. Devin, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm doing all right here, but I'm up and down one of these streets. If you take a look next to me, you can see just some of what was inside these houses that has now been cleaned out. The flooring, the wood, the drywall, the insulation, almost everything inside, gutted down to the bare studs is what you need to do to make sure that these homes can stay safe after the flooding. It takes a lot of hard work to do it, but the good news is there are still groups of volunteers across the area who are willing to help homeowners and businesses for free, with the demolition work going across area to ask residents if they need help for something also known as mucking and gutting. So this is a process that can take a while, but there are lots of volunteer crews that are out here helping around the area this morning. One of the groups here going around is called Operation Blessing. They're a nonprofit that activates across the country whenever they need to help people with natural disasters. And they say that many of homeowners they've heard from in the area don't have flood insurance. That also means that they're most likely not going to have the money for a professional demolition demolition crew in the aftermath. That's why they, along with others in town, are going around to offer that free help with cleaning the houses, cutting up the walls with water in them, removing insulation, drywall, taking out carpet and flooring if they need to, and bringing the structure down to the studs wherever it got the water. Because they say if you're working on your own to getting help, make sure you turn your utilities off, wear protective gear and masks if you need to, and don't pay for-profit crews up front, and try to get that work done as soon as you can.
If, for example, Juan had 3 feet of water in here, we took it out at 4 feet because it seemed to have not wicked above that. There's another house we're doing today where we're taking the walls out all the way to the ceiling. Those are the main things you need to know about it. You're really just, everything that you're doing is to get it dry.
Now, once you've gone again and cleaned out everything in the house, they recommend putting in some dehumidifiers if you can, some fans, anything to get the moisture levels down inside of your house and to disinfect the wood so that way it can stop the mold and mildew from growing. But often it's a long, complicated process for recovery, but starting off early and getting stuff like this out of your flooded home can be really important for the homeowners. If you need some of the free help that's still going around here area to area, or you don't live in the area but you've got a flooded home here in the Hunt, Ingram, Kerrville area, you can go to our website KSAT.com, where we've got that resource online for you for free, where you can sign up for that help. I'll send it back to y'all here. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
We continue the process of recovering bodies, of removing debris, of rebuilding, and the early process of getting people back into homes.
That's Governor Greg Abbott visiting in San Angelo yesterday, where at least one person died from the July 4th floods.
So while the governor was focused on rebuilding, he did have a sobering update.
Yeah, this is the numbers that he shared yesterday. He said 135 people have died from the July 4th floods, with 107 of those in Kerr County. That's where they were found, and 9 found in Kendall County. The governor added that's more than those we lost during Hurricane Harvey. At least 68 people were killed as a result of that storm.
And in a few days, state lawmakers return to Austin for a special session. And the recent floods will be a part of that conversation. Governor Greg Abbott again has identified 18 items on that agenda. And then the flood warning systems and emergency response definitely on that list. Lawmakers will also address a few hang-ups from the regular session, like property tax cuts, a possible ban on hemp products, and replacing the STAR test. So again, special session starts next Monday, July 21st. And then on the 23rd, the Joint Disaster Preparedness and Flooding Committee meets in Austin. And then they're going to meet in Kerrville on the 31st.
And we want to remind you that our Together for Texas donation campaign is ongoing. So far, you have helped raise more than $920,000. All of that money is going to those impacted by the Deadly Hill Country flooding through the Salvation Army.
And speaking of which, we also want to let you know about this. We got a Together for Texas benefit concert coming your way August the 18th at the Tobin Center for Performing Arts. You'll be able to watch it at KSAT 12, all of our streaming platforms. The performers you see right there on your screen, a little Bree Bagwell, Reckless Kelly, Lost Lonely Boys. We got it all coming your way. They're going to be featured. It's going to go directly to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund, the proceeds collected, and we have that ticket information posted for you on our website at KSAT.com.
At least 4 people are dead and many more hurt after a massive car crash along I-35. And this morning, San Antonio police say they still haven't found the people who caused that crash. This happened just before 3 p.m. yesterday on the southbound lanes of I-35 near Casson Road. That is near Loop 410, the interchange on the southwest side. And police say the multi-vehicle crash started when a stolen Camaro crashed into a small bus carrying a trailer. Police Chief William McManus said the 4 suspects in that Camaro, including one with an assault rifle, jumped out of the car, and they haven't been found. As for the victims, Chief McManus said the 2 who died were older adults.
More than a year after voting to terminate him, the city of Kirby rehired Brian Rowland to serve as city manager. Well, that split decision just happened during the latest council meeting. Back in February, KSAT investigators learned that the city hired Rowland as an interim, even though the city terminated him in 2023. Council ended Rowland's initial 4-month tenure after employee complaints led to an investigation, and the records show that at least 20 people applied to be Kirby city manager. Well, Rowland told KSAT investigators that he's the best person for the job.
Taking a look outside with live cam. Relatively quiet currently, however, we're tracking the chance, it's very small, for some rain later today due to all that Gulf moisture. I'll break down your rain chances for your weekend coming up.
Caught on camera. We got a terrifying kidnapping attempt. You see it right there. But an 18-year-old fights back and escapes. What she says helped her survive. Coming up.
Plus, families of the Robb Elementary victims are taking their fight to court today, but not in Texas, in Los Angeles. Why they say Instagram and the makers of Call of Duty help influence the Uvalde shooter and what they want changed.
And the White House reveals President Donald Trump has a newly diagnosed medical condition, one that could lead to some serious complications if left untreated. But next, we spoke with a San Antonio specialist about the risk of CVI. We're going to tell you all about it and why early treatment is key.
Time right now, 6:12 in your morning headlines. The White House announced President Trump was diagnosed with a medical condition. It is called chronic venous insufficiency. That is when valves inside certain veins don't work the way they should. And when that happens, blood can collect in the veins, which can lead to blood clots. Now, it's very common in people who sit or stand for long periods of time. We spoke with a vein specialist who treats people with CVI in San Antonio. He says anyone with CVI needs to see a specialist.
It's very dangerous. One thing is just the chronic swelling to all that. When it stretches out, some of that fluid's going to squish out and it becomes edema, eventually more serious lymphedema, and you have these heavy swollen legs from then on. You're walking around carrying jugs of water in your legs.
Now, the president was diagnosed with CVI after his legs swelled. The White House says he had a comprehensive examination and, quote, remains in excellent health.
Meanwhile, overnight on Capitol Hill, the House giving final approval to President Donald Trump's request to pull back nearly $9 billion in government spending. And that includes more than $1 billion from public broadcasting and nearly $8 billion from foreign aid. It's the first time in decades that the president has gotten this kind of budget rollback through Congress. Some Republicans not thrilled about it, but they did vote yes, not wanting to go against President Donald Trump's agenda. And the White House says that more cuts could be coming. Extreme weather still wreaking havoc across the country. In Indiana, we got an RV was swept away. Severe thunderstorms slammed parts of the state. You see it right there behind me. Torrents of mud flowing through the Ruidos. Patty, help me out. What is that? I'm sorry.
Ruidoso, New Mexico.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And more rounds of monsoon showers and storms are expected across the Southwest today. Along the Gulf Coast, millions are at risk also of dangerous flash flooding as a tropical disturbance brings heavy rounds of rain and life-threatening rip currents. Some areas of Louisiana could also see rainfall, total up to 15 inches. Extreme athlete, we got Felix Baumgartner, the first skydiver to fall faster than the speed of sound during a 24-mile leap through the stratosphere more than a decade ago, has passed away. It happened during a crash yesterday along the eastern coast of Italy. Italian firefighters say that his paraglider crashed into the side of a swimming pool. He was only 56 years old. Closer to home, though, as Kirby ISD plans to head back to school this year, they need extra help. The Kamal Education Foundation and Kamal ISD Council of PTAs are hosting a school supply drive through July 25th.
Yeah, that's happening from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Donations can be dropped off at the Kamal ISD Support Services Building. That is near Loop 337 in New Braunfels. The district's goal is to get 100 backpacks as well as other supplies. You can find the full list right now on KSAT.com.
All right, today we got Project Smash hosting a Dance for a Cause, a community-driven event that aims to raise vital funds for families and communities impacted by recent flooding.
Now, this special dance workshop is from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Smash Dance and Fitness Studios on Bandera Road. They are suggesting a $10 donation, with all proceeds benefiting the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund.
All right, let's look at the roadways real quick here at 6:16. Let's check out some of our TransGuide cameras at I-10 and De Zavala. Looking crash-free. Traffic picking up right there at I-10 or I-35 in Walsham, excuse me. One more going on with I-35 in San Marcos, U2, looking pretty decent.
And if you're driving through Loop 410 at Blanco Road westbound, there is a disabled vehicle that is on the side of the road. But with a closer look at how things are looking, Alex Gomez, how are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Patty. I'm doing pretty good right here. I'm coming down from the north side. This is going to be 281 southbound at Bitters Road. And I just came from the northeast side as well. The northeast side has no construction slowing, so we're off to a good start, Patty.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Alex.
Switching gears to the weather, I saw during some of those TransGuide cameras that the sun is trying to pop out this morning, and sunrise still isn't for about another 30 minutes or so, but we'll still enjoy the temperature, still relatively seasonable this time of year, sitting in those 70 degrees up in the hill country, and relatively calmer winds. Yes, we're still seeing them about anywhere from 3 to 7 miles an hour, depending on where you are in South Central Texas, but they're fairly calm for now. They do have the potential to be a little breezy later today, gusting up to about 20 miles an hour. But with that, that's when we're also tracking the chance of some rain chances, only about a 10 to 20% chance later this afternoon. And that's due to that Gulf moisture I showed you earlier, but peak temperatures getting to about 95 degrees. Now here's that Gulf moisture. Yes, it was an area we were watching due to the National Hurricane Center when they named it as Invest 93L. If it continued to form, it would have been Dexter, but just take a look. Just over the last few hours, it really kind of started to spark back up this morning. And even then, it's going to be in areas of East Texas, even western portions of Louisiana along the Louisiana coastline. But even then, for us in San Antonio, it's going to bring in some of that moisture, maybe a quick shower, but it's mostly just going to bring some cloud coverage for most of us today. So over the next few hours, we're going to continue to see the showers continue to kind of strengthen and kind of build to become more widespread showers. If you're going to Houston today or Beaumont or even getting into areas of Louisiana, they still might have some heavier downpours. But for us around this evening, late afternoon, early evening, that's exactly what we're watching. Just a quick shower, maybe a quick downpour, but that's it. And quiet overnight tonight until tomorrow morning. Once again, another chance of some showers, maybe another quick isolated quick downpour, but we're not tracking anything severe. I know it also shows rain in the hill country. However, this is a tropical moisture, so you can't really pay attention to the exact precise location of where we're expecting all these little downpours. Just know it's just going to be widespread showers, maybe if we even see a rumble of thunder, if that, but I'm not even really focusing or even tracking any thunder or lightning associated with this because it's going to be very quick. But some good news, after tomorrow, we're drying out. Seeing that once again, 20% chance of rain on today and tomorrow on Saturday, and then throughout the rest of the weekend on Sunday, 97. Monday, 98, 98 on Tuesday, 99 next Wednesday and Thursday. So it's definitely warmer up. That's the traditional July we normally see here in not only Texas, but specifically San Antonio. We get that high pressure coming in, we start to dry out, we warm up, and that's normally helps us get even worse into our drought conditions, but we're doing fairly good right now. So I know it's going to be a relief for most people to see quieter weather conditions.
All right, thanks so much, Shelby. Good morning, Kerrville. Your time right now is 6:20, 77 degrees out there on this Friday.
Dragged out of a store and into danger, but she didn't give up. If you're looking at your screen, you see it right there. This morning, we're going to hear from the teen who turned the tables on her attacker.
In this morning's GMA First Look, after surviving that heart-stopping, caught-on-tape kidnapping attempt, The quick-thinking 18-year-old who escaped is speaking out to GMA.
I had to get away from him, and I could not get into the truck. I was terrified.
Emma was the sole employee working inside this Florida shop on June 29th when police say the suspect, Theodore Tunador, walked in and began stealing merchandise.
I got in his way so he wouldn't leave with the product, and then he pushed me out of the store and then put me in a chokehold and dragged me out to the truck.
The 18-year-old refusing to go quietly, fighting her way out of the suspect's grasp as he tries to force her into what authorities say is a stolen vehicle. And coming up at 7 a.m., she'll tell us how she escaped and the lesson her parents taught her that made all the difference. With your GMA First Look, I'm Victor Oquendo, ABC News, Miami.
Talk about a brave woman right there. It is 6:25, y'all, 77 degrees outside.
Coming outside, taking a look, this is everything that's inside one of those flooded houses that needs to be gutted out during the recovery process. Coming up this morning on GMSA, how you're going to be able to get some free help right here in the Kerrville, Ingram, Hunt area.
Live from KSAT 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Coming up on our 6:30 hour on this Friday. Again, thanks so much for making it to the end of the week with us. Again, we're rocking this morning out. Got a lot to get to today.
Yeah, first off, everybody wants to know what the weather's going to be like this weekend, Shelby.
So I do have some good news, bad news type of situation. It's not necessarily bad news, but it's going to be inconvenient, not necessarily impactful. So we do have some rain chances coming up, but right now we're not really seeing anything on authority radar. All that green you see, part of that is just the normal feedback you see on authority radar, but some of it also is the bats. They're going back into the caves as the sun's just about to rise. So we're not really seeing anything just yet. That's still out in the Gulf and still out in areas of East Texas, West Louisiana, but that's going to give us the chance for some rain. We are going to dry out starting on Sunday and Monday and not even really picking up any rain chances next week. But today into tomorrow, that's about a 20% chance of some isolated rain. It's going to be quick little showers, quick little pop-ups, not even tracking anything severe. Once again, inconvenient, yes. Impactful, not necessarily, but we are sitting on very saturated grounds, so any rain has the potential to continue to make the ground even more saturated. Take a look at the number of days of rain just this month. Areas of Ingram and Medina have had 12 days this month of where they've seen rain. We're only on the 18th day. So that's most of the month they've seen the heavy rainfall or just rainfall in general. In San Antonio, we've only seen about 7 days of rain so far, but temperatures right now still sitting in the 70s. Like I mentioned, not seeing any rain just yet. That's going to come later on today. I'll break down your weekend forecast, plus take a look at some Saharan dust that might return coming up in a bit, guys.
Thank you so much, Shelby. So families are still recovering as the deadly July 4th waters flooded homes and businesses in the Hill Country.
And as they look towards the future, there's free help across the area with mucking and gutting structures, something that can typically cost thousands of dollars. Our Devin Karp is live in Ingram with how you can take advantage of the help, along with a list of do's and don'ts. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Patty and Jeff. Yeah, the sun is starting to rise over here, and as it does, we can get a better look at just some of what was inside. Just one house, by the way. This is everything that goes into a lot of the cleanup work that goes out here, tearing everything out of the flooding houses, from the flooring to the drywall, the insulation, wood inside, furniture, personal items, groceries, you name it. It has to get tossed out here as part of the work to make sure that these houses can stay safe. It takes a lot of hard work and a lot of hands to do it. But the good news is that there's groups of volunteers going across the area who are willing to help homeowners and businesses for free with the demolition work over here. So one of the groups that's out here giving this help is a nonprofit called Operation Blessing, who says that many homeowners they've talked to haven't had the flood insurance to begin with, and that means they most likely don't have the money for a professional crew, which can sometimes cost thousands of dollars. That's why they, along with some others in town, are going around to offer free help with the demolition process, cleaning out the house. That includes cutting up the walls with water in them, removing the insulation inside, taking out the carpet and flooring if they need to, bringing out all the furniture, and essentially taking the structure down to the studs where it got in some of that water. They say if you're working on your own or you're getting help, make sure that you turn your utilities off before you start. Wear protective gear like masks, gloves, and safety glasses if you need to, and don't pay for for-profit crews up front when you're working with them. Plus, try to get that work done as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary growth.
And we had 100 people yesterday. Yeah. And we have over 60 today. We had 70 the day before yesterday. I have churches calling, just huge groups wanting to come in. My job has been running around and finding the jobs for them to do.
So Operation Blessing, that nonprofit, has people who have experience with what's sometimes called mucking and gutting work. They're going around in crews of 10, knocking out houses and going one after the other on their way. But they do say once you've gotten everything taken out, you want to try to put in some dehumidifiers, fans, leave the windows, anything that you can to get the moisture levels down, to disinfect the wood and everything here to stop the mildew and mold growing. Because when that grows in your house, it's not only unsafe for you to live in, giving some unnecessary contaminants for your lungs, but can also tank the value of your property over here. If you need help getting some of the work like this done, there are groups going around the area, house to house, if you're here in town in the Ingram, Kerrville, Hunt area. But if not, you can go to our website, KSAT.com. That's where we've got a link where you can sign up for that free help to get some help here with your flooded home. We'll have more on this coming up for the rest of GMSA, but for now, I'll send it back to y'all. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Devin. A lot of people during the Hill Country floods lost everything, and we visited with two people in Comfort who live along the same stretch of the Guadalupe River, but are experiencing completely different aftermaths.
It would take 35 feet to get in my house, so it got up 30 feet, 34 feet, I'm sure. That's when I lost my truck, my motorcycle, my van, my RV, everything under here was gone.
So the man you just heard from just then was Woody, and thankfully the community's been there for him. Someone even gifted him a truck to replace his classic Ford. However, another person that we talked to, who by the name of JR, wasn't as fortunate.
Lost everything. Just trying to salvage what little bit we have. We just barely had time to get out. Jumped in the trucks and all that.
So as the water receded and cleanup efforts began, JR says that he finally got the water working again, and like many others, now needs some money to replace the items that he lost.
Okay, happening today in Kerrville, Cricket Wireless is giving out free cell phones to people affected by the floods. They will continue giving phones out until they run out. You still have time to pay for the services, though. Those cell services lines begin at about $25. However, the phones, which are Samsung and Motorola devices, are free. This is all happening at 603 Main Street in Kerrville. The devastation in the Hill Country has left a lot of families with nothing, and now they're reaching out for help. A spokesperson from FEMA has told us that since July 4th, 4,216 people have applied for federal assistance. FEMA assistance can put cash in your pocket for things like food, shelter, medical needs, and funeral expenses. To apply, you can go to disasterassistance.gov. Call FEMA at the number right there on your screen, or you can reach them through the FEMA mobile app.
Our Together for Texas donation campaign still happening. So far, raising more than $920,000 thanks to all of your generosity. All of that money is going directly to the impacted people who were affected by the deadly Hill Country floods through the Salvation Army. And again, because of that Together for Texas benefit, we got a concert happening too, August 18th at the Tobin Center for Performing Arts. You'll be able to watch it at KSAT 12, and then all of our streaming platforms will have it available. The performers that you see on your screen will be featured. And now again, the proceeds going directly to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. We got ticket information posted for you at KSAT.com.
The families of the victims killed at Robb Elementary are heading to court later today. They are suing the parent companies of Instagram and Call of Duty, saying the companies helped market weapons to the Uvalde shooter before he was 18. Now, those arguments begin in Los Angeles at noon, San Antonio time. This weekend, a Uvalde nonprofit will make their first big contribution to the community.
Gloves for Tess was founded by the family of Robb Elementary shooting victim Tess Mata. It's their way of spreading her love of softball. Tess would have turned 13 this year. So they're donating 13 gloves to players in Uvalde. The donation was made possible by a grant from the Dick's Sporting Goods Foundation. Friends and family gather to remember the man who they say touched so many lives.
Yeah, Las Palapas founder Ron Acosta, who was killed in his home earlier this month. A celebration of life ceremony was held yesterday at Cornerstone Church. Their service included a sermon as well as video and musical tributes for Acosta.
He made a difference in my life when I needed, I needed a job, and he gave me one. And it was more than a job. Working for him was really a pleasure. You're going to be missed, Ron.
Okay, investigators say Acosta was killed in his San Antonio home on July 1st. San Antonio police say his nephew stabbed him. 39-year-old David Ruiz is charged with murder.
Taking a look out at the roadways this morning. Again, we're looking at 637. So if you are hitting the road to go to work or go anywhere that you're going this early, we got to figure out how your commute is looking. And at this time, if you're looking at your screen with the sun out and about, 35 in Walsham, you got traffic building up, but it's moving just along fine. I-35 in San Marcos, again, we got a major traffic buildup right there. So far on TxDOT, I'm only seeing construction alerts at this time. But again, if you are out and about, please, let's keep it crash free if that is the case.
All right, let's check in with Alex Gomez. Good morning, Alex.
Yeah, good morning, Patty. Well, right now I am on the northwest side. This is going to be I-10 westbound near Vance Jackson. So far, I'm not tracking any incidents. We are crash free, and we're rolling pretty smoothly over here on the northwest side, Patty.
All right, thanks so much, Alex.
Taking a look outside with live cam, that sun is currently trying to rise. However, we are tracking some saturated air from what would have been Tropical Storm Dexter still in areas of the south. I'll tell you what you need to know with that, plus the hair and dust coming up.
Do you have a favorite restaurant or a favorite hairstylist? SA Picks is back, and we want to know who you think are the top businesses in the city. There are more than 90 categories to vote on. Just scan the QR code on your screen. You can vote for each category once a day, and you have until August 1st to vote. The finalists will be announced on August 19th, and then there'll be another round of voting from August 20th through September 12th to determine the big winners. We'll announce the winners in late September, so cast your vote now for your favorite business to be recognized as the best in San Antonio.
The rebuilding efforts of the Hill Country floods are still ongoing, and right now families again still recovering as those deadly July 4th waters flooded their homes and businesses in the Hill Country.
So as they look towards the future, they are also, of course, cleaning up a lot of those homes and businesses. Our Devin Karp is live in Ingram this morning with information that can help some of these families save money. Good morning, Devin.
Hey, good morning, guys. So it's a little bit brighter outside, so I wanted to show you, I've seen what some of the outside of a gutted home looks like. Let's see what one of these homes actually looks like over here with everything outside of it. Now, there's been a volunteer nonprofit group that has come in and made sure that some of the doors, everything is over here, trying to help out the homeowner as much as they can. But if you're able to see inside, and you'll see here in the video in a second, everything inside of here is absolutely gutted here, left to the studs, taking out flooring, carpet, debris, mud, wood, insulation, drywall, all of it had to be taken out of this house in order to stop mold from growing. With a demolition crew, that can cost sometimes thousands of dollars to have professionals come through. But because there's still nonprofits here in town, they are going house to house, making sure that anyone who needs this help can get it for free. One of the groups coming out here to do that is called Operation Blessing. They're a nonprofit that gets activated across the country to help respond with natural disasters. They say they have crews that are used to this kind of work going around and doing what's called mucking and gutting, cutting up the walls with water in them at the drywall level, taking the insulation out, taking out the carpet, the flooring, the tile if possibly needed, and bringing the structure down to the studs where it got the water to stop mold from growing. They say if you're working on this on your own or you have a crew of some of your friends and families, make sure when you guys start out to turn your utilities off before you get started. There's some electricity in the walls, obviously, you don't want to be messing with while doing some of this work. Make sure to wear the protective gear while you can, gloves, safety glasses, masks if you need to avoid inhaling any of the insulation inside of the houses, and don't pay for for-profit crews ahead of their work. Make sure that they finish what they're doing before they receive payment. Plus, make sure to get it done as soon as possible after the floodwaters because that can stop the mold from growing, but thankfully they have the people to do it.
They're pretty much on an average of 10 people per work group, and we're stretched all the way from the further reaches of Hunt down into Ingram today. We've got a couple muck and gut jobs. We've got a tree job where we're cutting up logs along the river into smaller sections so they can be removed. We've got some general debris cleanup work going on.
Still a lot of work to be done here in the community, but there is the nonprofit that is coming together to do it. Now, one of the important things about getting the work done fast is to stop mold and mildew growing from inside these houses. Make sure you can get most of that moisture out at a level of below 20% with fans, dehumidifiers, leaving things open, anything you can to get those levels down, because eventually you're going to have to spray it with some chemicals to make sure that they don't start to grow over here. The crews that are going out and about in town are going from house to house along the flooded streets typically, but if you're not in here in the area and still need assistance, you can go online to KSAT.com. That's where we've got a link where you can sign up for that free help with things like doing demo work on a flooded house. Best of luck to everyone out here in the Kerrville, Ingram, and Hunt area. I'll send it back to you all in San Antonio. Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Devin. This morning, the Trump administration has given ICE access to personal data of 79 million Medicaid recipients, including the names, addresses, and birth dates and ethnicity. The agency plans to use this information to find and deport immigrants living in the U.S. illegally. Critics warn that this could scare vulnerable families away from seeking medical help and violate privacy laws. The move has sparked lawsuits and widespread backlash from state and federal lawmakers. A scary moments in the sky. Well, we're talking about a Delta flight forced to make an emergency landing in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, after a passenger tried to open an exit door mid-flight. Take a look right here. The video from on board shows that the man being escorted off the plane in handcuffs. The FAA says that it happened on a Delta Connection flight from Omaha to Detroit. Witnesses say that the man fought with crews and passengers, but never got the door open, thankfully. The plane landed safely and everyone on board is okay.
All right, let's take a look outside for your morning commute at 6:47. There is an I-35 at Alamo northbound, a crash that was reported at 6:46 this morning on KSAT. There's also, some other crashes and construction at let's see, I-35 at Laredo Street as well. You're looking at I-10 at the Y, 281 at the Loop 410. Traffic moving along very nicely out there.
All right, let's get to photojournalist Alex Gomez, who is on the roadways. Alex, what can you tell us where you're at?
Good morning, Jaffney. I'm over here nearing the northeast side. This is going to be 410 eastbound near Harry Warsbach. I just passed the airport. Airport traffic still looking pretty good. No slowdowns if you have a flight this morning, Jaffney.
All right. Thank you so much, Alex.
One thing I wanted noted is when we were doing drive cam, you could see the sunrise. It's a little bit of relief for some people seeing the sun. I know the cloud coverage, and if it's dark, people think maybe it's going to rain. And yes, there's rain, and yes, there's moisture coming in today, but we're not expecting heavy downpours later today and tomorrow. But temperatures right now as you're waking up and getting out the door, sitting in those 77 degrees in San Antonio, 73 in areas of Canyon Lake. And yes, we're tracking some relatively light wind, might be a little breezy, but those dew point temperatures, those are still in those 70s. So you're waking up feeling a little muggier as well. And throughout your day today, just expect temperatures to continue to increase into those 90s already, or near 90 degrees already by lunchtime. In the afternoon, about 3 o'clock, that's when we start to see some rain chances really return. And even by around 8 p.m., there still is about a 10% chance of rain. Granted, not everyone is going to see the rain, but it's going to still be there, and it's going to be fairly light for most of us, but it's going to leave by the evening hours. Even right around sunset is the time we're tracking the rain to finally leave. Now, this is why we're tracking some quick little showers. We're seeing in a lot of areas of just some saturated air. That is coming off the area where the National Hurricane Center was watching for some tropical development. Now, all that saturated air, most of that is going to go just to the north. However, those little bands, and even then, some of the saturated and moist air is going to make its way to San Antonio this weekend. that's why we have about a 20% chance of rain today and tomorrow. But the good news is by the time Sunday arrives, that's going to leave. And as that leaves, we're going to start to dry out and get some Saharan dust. But otherwise, your weekend forecast still sitting in those 90s, 97 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, we're still seeing the potential for some rain chances. Sunday, we're drying out. And like I mentioned, the Saharan dust, yes, it's going to still be here, but it's not going to be as big as we've seen before. It's still going to be fairly light, and even then, it's going to be overnight. So here's a rough look at your Saharan dust. We are in Saharan dust season, and Sunday night, basically right around midnight Monday morning. That's when we see that first layer, but it's still going to go just to the east of us in areas of Houston. And then we have another band coming in Monday afternoon, and then a little bit as we get into Monday evening into Tuesday, and it's already gone. So it's going to be fairly quick, fairly light before another plume potentially could arrive next week, but it shouldn't interrupt your weekend plans. It's still going to continue to just be fairly light, fairly just inconvenient, especially if you do have some sort of health issues as well for most of us here in South Central Texas before we dry out next week.
All right, thanks, Shelby. Coming up on GMSA Plus, after 3 decades, the San Antonio Zoo is bringing back some primates. The animal friends making a comeback.
And welcome back. We are looking at traffic real fast to give you a quick check in on right here at I-35 in the Alamo. You guys see we got traffic moving along real slow. There is some type of stalled vehicle that's right there, and it looks like they're trying to be loaded up as traffic is moving slowly around them. Again, if this is a part of your commute right now at 655 I-35 in Alamo, you might want to find a different route or pay attention right there at I-10 and I-35. Also traffic, but things are moving along, Patty.
All right, let's check in with our friend Alex Gomez to see how the roads on his commute are looking. Good morning, Alex.
Yeah, good morning, Patty, and I'm on my way to go check out that incident on the I-35 at Alamo. It's going to be on the northbound lane, so just a heads up, northbound I-35. Right now, I'm on the east side headed towards there, and right now the east side's still all in the clear, Patty.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Alex. Be safe.
Temperatures today still getting into the 90s, 95 degrees for peak temperature in San Antonio. Still have a light chance of some showers, only about a 20%. And then we're really starting to dry out on Sunday and Monday, seeing the normal summer-like conditions we're seeing here in areas of South Central Texas. Temperatures in those mid to upper 90s, even some areas just south of San Antonio getting to triple-digit heat. But we'll keep you posted on the heat and the rain chances throughout the weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Shelby. We're going to be checking in with you and more of Alice coming up on GMSA Plus, streaming on KSAT Plus, KSAT.com. Do not go anywhere. Traffic, weather, your headlines on the way.